Okay, let's talk about hair growth and how it goes with the seasons and flow, and how our hair growth cycle is similar to our weather patterns that we see on this earth. Yes, your hair is like the earth in the different patterns, and we are going to break down how that cycle and how you can kind of complement and reflect not only on your hair growth, but your body changes and build more awareness into reflection for life. So let's get started and dive in. So there are 3 different hair growth cycles. We have the anagen, which is the cycle where hair is growing and doing its thing. It is actually the longest. 90% of our hair is growing unless you're having some type of health issues. Sometimes it's inhibited, especially because of the hormone disruptions and illnesses, but that can be changed. So give me one moment. And then we as well have our telogen, which that is the removal process, and that's why I put it with fall, but actually it would be catagen after anagen. So the catagen cycle I put with winter time because that is a time when you are to be delicate and kind with yourself and your hair growth, because that is when the hair is kind of wanting to go through a separation phase, but it's actually just stunted, meaning it's in a state of being frozen in a sense. Fall, aka autumn, that is the telogen phase. And telogen is actually when the hair is separating. Think of telogen like the telephone and you're having a call but then it disconnects. Think of it like that. It'll help you remember. So I put anagen phase with spring and summer because that is the season when the earth is beaming, growing, animals are having babies, and your hair is doing the same. It is lively and doing its thing, and that season can actually be optimized longer than just those 6 months, meaning aka anagen can go from 2 years all the way to 7, but you can increase it with certain type of habits, and I will show you that shortly. So our winter hair growth is a time where in that cycle, it is actually reflecting. It's giving a moment of hiatus. It's bringing within, and the way you treat that hair at that moment is really important because you can pull it out too quick. You can think and give up on your process at that time because you're not seeing real growth. And think of the winter time when it's super cold out and it's so many things to endure, like the cold weather. A lot of issues are happening with other people, sickness sometimes, but it's also a time of celebration too, when you have all the different gatherings and coming together. So think of your hair as being in its protective state at that time, and it's wanting to hibernate and get its thoughts together. Now, the autumn time is telogen once again, and that is a time when your hair is coming out. And our hair, we have about 100 strands, 50 to 100, 150 for some people, that fall out on a daily basis. Remember, I said 90% of your hair is going through the growth cycle. So 10% is going through these other cycles. So again, we have the anagen, the catagen, and the telogen phase. So think of that as ACT. You gotta act right. You gotta act right to get the growth you want. So acting right includes showing up for yourself in this process. Note that everybody is not gonna have the same type of patterns as the other because we're all unique. Just like your thumbprint is unique, even if you're a twin, snowflakes are unique, even if they're all the way on one side and they're some in the same area. Just like you are unique from everyone else, your hair growth cycle is unique too. So the things that you need to notice in your hair growth time is your porosity, which is the amount of moisture that stays in your hair. You need to find out what is your type, meaning is it coarse, is it fine, is it medium texture? You can also think about is the density. How thick is my hair? Some people's hair can be 4C and they have a whole bunch of strands, but then there's some people whose hairs are so thick so thick that they don't have as many strands. But with that, that's the way you need to pay attention and know how to manipulate your hair growth patterns. So these are essential because just like in the spring and summer when all the trees and grass are growing, you are just like in the summer and spring when you see things growing and thriving, you have the flowers thriving and doing their thing. These are different patterns. Like actually in plants, you have a process called NPT, and that is your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and I forgot the T part, but it's a specific nutrient, and nitrogen, phosphorus, it's certain different levels that are happening in that time frame that you really need to pay attention to for the growth of a plant. And that's why you switch out things over time. Like you would never keep planting tomatoes in the same area because it would deplete all the nutrients. Same thing with your hair growth process. You need to know what is necessary for your hair type so that you can go ahead and enhance your journey. So your summer and spring routine may be completely different than your autumn and winter, which it kind of should be depending on the seasonal changes that occur in the region of where you live. So in the wintertime, thicker butters are more common and very useful in the area I live. It's a lot colder, but in the spring and summer, light oils and things so you don't build up and break out your skin from buildup of oils because you're already going to be sweating because it's hot outside. Same thing. So when you're having these different processes come up in your anagen phase, this is that test. You are going to as well check out in different areas of life at your doctor. You need to get your checkups. Your checkups are key and essential to seeing growth aspire to, because not saying I like going to the doctor, but getting my levels checked are truly important to see what am I lacking and deficient in my body from. And that is going to help you on your growth process, because when you know these things, you can become a better you overall, because your hair is the last thing to grow in the body. You have skin, hair, nails. Those are the last to want to regenerate and turn over. Although we have skin cells fall off every single day, that doesn't mean your skin is glowy or vibrant. It just depends on how you're taking care of the inside. If you're eating too much gluten, you're more likely to break out. If you're eating a lot of sugar, you're going to be more likely to crash and have like irritability in the body. But if you're having things of whole foods and nourishment, you're actually filling the organs' necessary needs. So that is important, as well as the amount of water. Spring and summer, that is truly the key to growth of the hair, because that is, the plants, because that is what it thrives off of. Water, sunlight, and then of course the fertilizing nutrients. And they get that from the different bugs sometimes, and as well humans interacting and putting in their parts when we have gardens. Just because though in the wintertime and autumn the plants aren't growing, that does not mean that the earth still doesn't need water. In the wintertime it snows. We got little snowmen going on, so it's still getting some water. It needs to get fed somehow. And then in autumn it rains sometimes, but that's when you're starting to see that detachment of the leaves from the tree. And that is the time that it's starting to fall off. But let's go back to autumn and think on how this process right here is going to be key to your growth process as well. Because in this part, people sometimes give up hope. Even in the wintertime, people give up hope. Like, I didn't do everything I wanted to do, this, that. That is not the time to end all be all. That just means it is a time to replant and renew your mind, your thinkings, habits, skills. God said, don't be conformed by this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's a period. That's a point blank. That's an end all be all thing that is aspiring you into your higher self. And You need the word of God on your hair growth process. That's just what it is. It really is key, because you get answers that you were looking for that you didn't know to look for, because he'll bring that part to you. And that is amazing in itself, because you're like, you care about that part of me too? Like, yep, all of it. Just like I always say, nail growth. And so just like in that hair growth process, God create everything, formed you in the mother womb. He knows how many hairs is on the head of the body, only of every single person. So your hair, even if it's falling and it's not doing what you want at the moment, that doesn't mean like you're not being thought of. It's actually a sign and symbol that you need to activate and get to the root cause of any emotional issue that you are going and dealing with in certain times. That's why winter and autumn go together, because wintertime is the time to renew, get hibernated. But the autumn, that's sometimes the indicating time of the body to see what's happening. If you're having too much hair fall, you maybe need to get your levels checked. You maybe need to drink more water. You maybe need to get things in order. But note that this was going to always happen. Hair was going to fall eventually, but if it's coming in major amounts, you are not alone. There are people that go through this. I can assist you on that journey. You can find information. I am a health educator. I am an advanced natural hair consultant. I can assist you to get you on a good process, because a lot of times we are not addressing the roots of specific stressors in life that are causing these issues. And that's where I would come in and help you with your research. And not only that, empower you to advocate for you and your better, best health and wellness. So don't just think of me only. Think of anything you can look and advocate for. If you know there's a specific thing you're tackling, start looking at ways that you can address stress triggers. The stress trigger is an amazing thing so you know what you should not be doing in certain parts and times, in calamities and situations, and learn how to reframe your mind. And that's why it's, again, don't be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And my next part and key is, in the wintertime, this is the time when you can get really cozy and comfortable and honor yourself and actually congratulate yourself in whatever situation you see your hair growth in, because you made it to another cycle, and maybe it did go the way you wanted, maybe it didn't go, but that just means that you get to replant, renew. That's the time farmers go back and they start planning and coming up with ideas of how they're going to grow for the next season, getting their seeds in order, ready for the next season, and even preparing ahead, meaning planning indoors. Think of the planning indoors of like planning in your mindset the things that you can do better, and you can start fresh. If you are in the wintertime and things are cutting, that's a good time to do a trim and I'm gonna start over. You can do some protective styles. You can love on yourself more. It's not much to do in the cold, but be merry, be happy, eat comforting foods, love on yourself, and do whatever's a passion towards you. And so with all of this, I need you to note that you are not alone on your journey. This was something I have been working and researching on for a while. I had my own health issues conspire in my life, and I've had to overcome many things, and stressors sometimes have been a part and key of why I saw damage in hair growth, and as well as my other clients, and how I was able to restore and put it back in order. And that is an honor and glory to serve, because he said be passionate in your hands and in your work. And I need you to note, I saw all the parts for the hair growth process, but I hope you noticed that I had a lot of inner mind pieces too, because when you are growing your hair, you are actually in a process of loving yourself. You are doing self-care, and self-care is the activities, social, emotional, in the umbrella of self-love. So you can self-love yourself by using your hair as a health indicator. You can love yourself by taking yourself out, learning the things that you want and like. And again, in these processes of the winter and the autumn, you can start finding things that are of interest that you want to see new in your cycles. Ways to optimize the energen intelligent phase, again, are to find the deficiencies that are in your body and fix that part. That is going to really help and key to bring more longevity in the energen phase. So with all of this being said, I hope that I was able to assist you a little to kind of see how the earth works around with your hair growth too. And the last piece I wanted to touch in on is the fact that your hair is a sensor to your environment. Since it's a sensor to your environment, you really want to make sure you find yourself protecting it, covering it when you're outside, when it's cold, making sure you take time and moments to be aware of the environments you see yourself in. And if you are indeed in situations where it's stressful and you cannot get away, start learning how to find peace of mind right where you're at through deep breathing, meditation, reading your word, drinking your water. I swear to drinking water because it brings you on your mind your own business lane. Why mind your own business? Because that mind your own business lane means going to the bathroom often. So you don't even have much time to talk to everybody about the gossip because you're like, oh, I gotta go use the bathroom. And you're not ingesting things in your body that bring toxins because you're cleansing them out. And your organs thrive 85% water. Is our body. So get your water in. That's what the source of life for everything, for all the plants, for humans, all of that. The earth is basically all blue. We have 30% land, 70% water. So act according to what you know is for the body. And with that being said, I am Tree from Tree Essentials. I am restoring your tree to grow essentially. And yes, your tree is your hair. You are like a plant. And we are the ability to plant seeds, inspire others, and inspire change. And with that being said, move in love with yourself and love yourself like those you see around you and bring the change you seek. And you have a great rest of your day.